Hi guys, welcome back to Empower In. Thank you so much for joining me. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Lorie Brown. She's a nurse attorney and she has represented over 300 nurses in front of the licensing board. So Lorie, if you can just introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, Caroline.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for coming on my channel. So you came on and you said that you would answer some of my subscribers' questions. So we have a list of questions, and these are all related to legal questions that nurses can encounter. So the first question is from Sabrina, and she's from Rhode Island. And she says, how much does it usually cost for nursing insurance? And is it really worth it? And what type of education do you need to become a legal nurse consultant?
Hi, Sabrina. Great question. Thanks for asking. Basically, should a nurse have their own insurance? Well, it just depends. It's really a personal choice. NSO offers insurance for $99, but under the law in every state, your employer is responsible for your actions, so your employer will cover you for your acts. But if you are acting outside the scope of your responsibility, then that's a situation where you definitely would need your own insurance. I've also heard of situations where hospitals can come back at you personally to get any fees that were paid on your behalf, but I've never seen that happen. Um, and then as far as the reasons why to have your own insurance, the best reason is that you have the right to your own attorney. So if you don't have to just have the hospital's attorney represent you. If you have your own insurance, you have the right to have your own attorney. And if your interests are different from the hospital's, then it's really important that you have your own attorney. And the second benefit of having your own insurance is that there is on some policies they have, like especially NSO, they have what's called a disciplinary defense fund. And so if your license is in jeopardy or you're questioned by the Board of Nursing, then you have the right to your own attorney for those actions as well. Now, the insurance that you get from NSO is considered an excess policy, which means it doesn't even come into place until after your hospital pays their portion of it and exhausts their insurance. But again, that's not really why you're having it. The benefit is that you have your own attorney. Now, the downside to having your own insurance, and that's why I say it's really a personal choice, is that some attorneys will want to name everybody individually who has their own policy. So if they think you did something individually, then by you having your own policy, it may cause them to name you in an action independently, along with the hospital as a named defendant. But typically, they don't name the nurses independently, luckily. So, long answer, and I think you have a second part to your question. You asked about legal nurse consulting. So I also do some consulting as well, as representing nurses before the licensing board. And I love it. But the problem for most nurses that I find is that it's difficult to find work. And as nurses, we are caregivers. We're not business people. So if you're willing to learn the business skills and go talk to attorneys and get business, most nurses are uncomfortable with that. But I joke it's the same as when you started out in nursing. You were afraid to talk to the doctors, and then after you get more comfortable, you're basically telling them what to do. It's the same working with attorneys.
Very
So
nice.
I love consulting. It's a great field to get in, but unless you're ready to really learn those business skills and pound the pavement to get to work, it can be a difficult field. There's not that many positions.
Interesting.
But get lots of experience first before you consult, because the
Yeah,
experience helps.
because you were a nurse for a very long time before you became a legal nurse consultant, right?
I actively practiced for about 12 years, and I had the benefit, like you, Caroline, I worked at PRN. through an agency, so I was put in a million different situations. So I worked organ transplant, and at last position I had, I was manager of neurosurgery at our county hospital. So I've had a wide, and I did home care while I was in law school. I've done camp nursing. So the more experience and the more places that you have, the more valuable you are as a legal nurse consultant.
Very nice. Okay, so this next question is from Leslie, who said, I recently just started a chapter of Hispanic Nursing Organization. My question to your guest is, I'm wondering if we need to get liability insurance for my chapter since we are planning on having health fairs. Is it necessary to get liability insurance in case someone tries to sue us? Thank you, and this is from Leslie from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hi, Leslie. Thanks for the question. I am not an expert on insurance at all, so I would suggest that you talk to your insurance agent about it. But more importantly, when you do have health fairs, you're going to have some kind of contract or something that you need to review and sign to even participate in these health fairs. So look at the contract, and it might even require you to have insurance, or you might want to inquire to the sponsor of the event. Do they have insurance that covers you as well? Not my area, but hopefully that'll give you some starting ground.
Okay, thanks. So the next question is from Pamela. She's from New York. And she says, what is your best advice for new nursing students to avoid legal trouble? I know that charting is important and being clear on what exactly happened and interventions that were taken, but what else should we be doing?
Hi, Pamela?
Yes.
Great. Okay, hi, Pamela. Thanks for your question. It's a really good question because I spend my day, other than representing nurses, I joke knee-deep in records and I'm reviewing them. And it's amazing when you, in retrospect, the things that you see that are missing in the chart. So one of the best exercises that I can recommend is to get a chart from like 6 months ago or a year ago that you were the primary care nurse on, and look at that chart and see if it tells the story of what happened to this person. What questions would you have? Is there anything that you'd want to know that wasn't documented? And I think that's just such a really good exercise for nurses to go back and do. And you'd be surprised because by the time a case is brought, like for example in Indiana, it can be 2 years since the case is brought. And by the time that you're actually involved, it's going to be 4 or 5 years down the road. And is your charting going to help you remember exactly what you did? But the whole purpose of charting is to tell the story of what happened to this patient. And my concern about these electronic records is it doesn't always say that A plus B equals C. It'll say A, B, and then there's no conclusion. When I review charts, I want to know what you're thinking. You know, what are you putting together? What, you know, if there's a concern about dehydration, are you not only looking at you know, the intake and output, but are you evaluating the skin turgor and the mucous membranes and the color of the urine and all those other things that go with it? It's got to be the whole picture. And I know sometimes when you're just checking the boxes, it doesn't really tell the whole story. So when in doubt, write a narrative. That's always the safest bet. And I know that we can kind of get away from that with electronic charting.
That's really good tip. So the next question is from Patty from Michigan. And she says, from your experience, what is the most dangerous places for nurses to work regarding their license? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, Patty, thank you. You're right above me in Michigan. I'm in Indiana. What I see is like OB is really heavy in terms of the litigation. But I don't think that there's any, I mean, hospice doesn't get too much, but I mean, if you're practicing, you know, and meeting the standard of care, and the standard is just what those acting under same or similar circumstances would do. And if you always keep that in mind and are practicing like that, no matter where you work, you should be okay.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so the next question is from Sarah. She's from Texas. She says, what is the most common reason you see nurses getting their license revoked?
Hi, Sarah. Great question, and I have a lot of experience in that area. truthfully, out of my 300 nurses I've represented, I have never had one get revoked. States are very reluctant to revoke somebody's license. They would rather put them on suspension for 99 years because if your license is revoked, you can get it back in 7 years. So so they'd rather just suspend you forever. But common reasons why you get your license revoked are really just bizarre, out of the box things. Like you wouldn't believe that in Indiana there was somebody having sex with a patient. I don't get it, but
Yeah,
obviously that would be grounds. We've had some bizarre cases in Indiana. We've had what we call an angel of death. Orville Lynn Majors, you may have read it in the paper several years ago, and he was working in the small community hospital, and he would love that adrenaline rush of a code. So he would inject patients with potassium because you wouldn't be able to trace that. And the only way they caught him is because there was just an excess number of patients dying there, and based on a review of normal mortality versus the mortality this particular hospital was having, and then when you look at what shift it was occurring on, and then you look at who was taking care of him,
oh my gosh,
he wound up having criminal charges, and he is in jail or in prison now.
Yeah, I think I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So then maybe instead of the question getting the license revoked, do they do that all the time, suspend it for 99 years? So maybe...
No, I'm sure I'm sure he's suspended for 99
Oh,
years.
no, but I mean, have you seen a lot of nurses getting their license suspended?
No, it's really rare.
That sounds like a...
The goal of the board is to be rehabilitative rather than punitive, and so they want to do everything... They're supposed to be able to do everything they can to help the nurse. Now that doesn't always seem like it, but most of them they want to put on probation and watch them. They don't really want to suspend them because they want to see how they're doing in the actual field. So most people get probation.
Great. Okay, so this next question is from somebody who wants to remain anonymous. And she says, I'm considering nursing as a profession. However, I have some misdemeanors on my record. With good behavior over the next few years, could I get hired as a nurse?
Thank you. That's a really good question, too, because your past should haunt you. And I've represented several students who have had problems in their past and who have overcome those problems. And I love helping people who have a problem in the past, who've overcome it, to get on with the next step of their life. So another thing you can look at is, I know in Indiana we just changed our expungement law. So expungement means you can get rid of the misdemeanor.
Like completely. Like completely, you won't even be able to see it?
Yeah.
That's great.
It gets rid of it. And then but you still have to disclose it, because even on the Department of Justice criminal check, they can see everything that's happened. So you still want to disclose it, but if it's expunged, the likelihood that they're going to do anything like to not give you the license would be pretty remote. But answer honestly, because I get nurses all the time, and especially students, they've had a DUI in their past, and they get what's called diversion. So they think that they don't have to answer it, but the question specifically says, have you been arrested or convicted? Now, excuse me, I have a cold.
Oh, it's okay.
It's getting the best of me today. So if you've been convicted of a DUI, if you've been arrested for a DUI, you've been arrested, so you have to answer yes. And if you got diversion, you've got to say yes, because you had to be convicted to get diversion. So you do have to answer yes.
Interesting. Okay. So this last question is from Mary. She's from the Philippines. And her question is there a higher population of foreign nurses that make mistakes due to language differences? That's an interesting question, because I have worked with a lot of nurses from other countries. So.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I used to work in California, and we had a very high percentage of Filipino population. But I didn't represent nurses there. I only represented them. I didn't at that time. So I only represent nurses in Indiana, and we're not a real diverse state.
Indiana, no.
I don't see. I don't think it really makes a difference. I don't think that the language barrier is, especially,
You haven't
my
seen a correlation.
The Filipino nurses are outstanding. They're really great employees, and they know how to follow the standards and take good care of people.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions that we have. So, Lorie, you have a gift for some people?
I do. We're going to have a drawing.
Yeah.
So I'll let you explain to it how it works. But
Okay.
I just wrote this book, Law and Order for Nurses, the easy way to protect your license and your livelihood. And if you can explain it if you comment or
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
I'm going to give 5 of these away.
Wow,
So,
5. Oh, you're
yeah,
generous.
so-
That's nice of you. Thank you. So yeah, I did read the book, and I thought that the real life situations that you speak about from people that you've represented, it's really important to hear those things, and not because, I mean, they were things that I had no idea you could get in trouble for. So this book is really good. I hope you guys like it. You can also find it on Amazon. But like Lorie said, she's going to give 5 copies away. And all you have to do is give this video a thumbs up and post a comment and subscribe to the channel. So 5 will be chosen. It's going to be totally random. So you might as well just post a comment, like the video, do all of that. And the winner will be announced in the description section of the next video and also in the email. So there's 2 places you can look for that. And don't worry, if I talk too fast, I'm going to type everything below as well. So thank you so much, Lorie. And there's one more thing that you had. There's an upcoming event that's going, it's a free event for a Telesummit or...
I've arranged a Telesummit. It's called 5 Days to Nursing Empowerment. And I sought after the top leaders in nursing who want to inspire and educate and improve our profession. And so, of course, Caroline's one of them.
Thank you.
And there are 8 others, myself, Caroline, and then 7 others. And there's going to be, it's all free. Just sit from the comfort of your own home. You can dial in on your telephone or listen online so you don't have to waste your minutes and get some free information. The topics are phenomenal, and I'm just so excited about it. And it's going to be the first week of April. And if you would like to register for this, go to empowerednurses.org.
And we'll put the link below.
Telesummit. Okay, great.
Yeah, we'll put the link below.
empowerednurses.org/telesummit. And we'd love to have you at our Telesummit. And if you can't make it live to the calls, they're going to be available and recorded and online for about a month after that. So we'd love to have you, and I know our experts are so interested and excited to give you such great information.
Awesome. Well, Lorie, thank you so much for coming on the channel and answering the subscribers' questions. I'm sure that it's going to be very valuable to them. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I know it's Saturday, and you're taking time out of your day to do this interview with me. So we really appreciate it. So
Thanks for bearing with my cold, too.
Yeah, of course, anytime. Okay, guys, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Love you. Bye.